All right, thanks guys for joining tonight. And as always, as I mentioned before, these are not really advertised per se because it's really meant for you guys who want that extra attention, from a back to basic standpoint. So I don't really post it on Facebook or anything like that because, this is really meant for you guys. The other one, the Thursday meetings are really meant for people to come in, get some sales ideas, learn about some product carriers and stuff like that. But this is more intimate training. I am going to use some of the material here as we continue going down the road. I'll use some of the material here in what I'm going to call a learning management system. But I figured since you guys are here, just share with you a couple quick updates. One of the things that took place over the weekend here was we developed a program called RISE. And it stands for Regional Insurance Solutions Executives. The idea is that we rise together, and I had the ability to bring in about five or six partners from the standpoint of growing out the territories or their regions, if you will. We're in sheer growth mode from a recruiting standpoint. So, for those of you who are building teams, what I would say is this is the raw. I'll share with you right now. Actually, I closed it, but let me pull it back open. Um, the raw idea of where we're going to be doing collaboration events, just frame of reference. If you guys aren't aware, we have the TGC event coming up again, and it's a toss up. We've got either May 3rd and 4th or May 31st and June 1st. So, because you guys are here, I'd love to ask your opinion real quick. What would you rather prefer? Would you rather prefer early May or late May, early June? There's no wrong answer.
Early May.
Early May, I think, for
Okay. Yeah, I was worried about that because of kids and getting out of school and stuff like that. So I wanted to just kind of engage from the standpoint of what makes more sense. And ultimately, what you'll see here is we have, the great collaboration for those who got to see it last year. Really good event, but it was all crushed into one day. So, and it was the day before Mother's Day of all days. So very appreciative of those who actually did come. And from the standpoint of, let's see, making sure, okay. And for those who couldn't make it, I completely understand why. So I avoided Mother's Day, but I didn't want to kind of butt up on when people are going to, take off for summer break or things like that. So I think we're pretty set on the 3rd and the 4th. And the way that this is going to work is it's going to be, a few main stage presentations. Then we're going to have three stages, and it's going to be different things. So the idea of collaboration is
luto banda.
different concepts and partnership. So, for example's sake, if I wanted to partner with an RIA, I'll have an RIA speaking there as to what they look for and how to develop relationships. As I've said a few times in my Facebook posts, there's no such thing as a bad agent or a bad product, just bad agents. And, a lot of people have a background in bashing things like whole life insurance. And you don't know what you don't know. So we're going to actually have a speaker on infinite banking using whole life. We do have a product that you can create hierarchy and structure around from that standpoint. And we're more than likely going to make this one free. Again, maybe $5 or $10. And the reason being is from that standpoint, it's not going to break the bank. But what it'll do is it'll help us with, sponsoring speakers. I'm anticipating between 250 to 500 people. And, for those of you who did attend last year, I'd highly encourage you to bring, other people because, from the standpoint of what we talk about, we have the three silos of what Valor can offer. So life, health, alternative investments, and things like that. So we want to make sure that we can build it out and just get it out for everybody to see. But on top of that, what we're also going to do for those who are looking to kind of grow agency per se, we got together with the Rise partners and we put together kind of a list of locations on where I'm going to do what I call a micro collaboration event. So, for example's sake, these are the touch points or areas where we're anticipating to do it. I have to pull the schedule together and really see, as long as it, fits within the wheelhouse of, what I call my CFO, my wife, is okay with that as well. But those of you who are looking to kind of, grow out, say, more of a presence, you can piggyback off of these and you can add, the value proposition of what we're doing. And if you want to attract people to come to the event, you're more than welcome to. So you're going to see more road shows from me this year, probably than you ever have. I'm not taking a very grandiose vacation across the pond this year like I did last year. And again, the focus is to really drive it home. So Valor has about 460 appointed agents, and by the end of the year, I'm looking to have about 2,500 agents. And it's not like I want just any agent who has a pulse and can breathe. The whole objective of what we're looking to do is really change the industry. It's been riddled with multi-level marketing groups who just try and stack bodies to get higher commissions. But in essence, is that really doing right for the individual? Could you sell something that you think is inappropriate to get higher up on the scale? And that's the stuff we want to avoid. And so that's why these are so important when we do these back to basics, because if you came from that environment, a lot of times these meetings would really be more or less, how to recruit more people in. And that's not for me to really guide you on. If you want those type of sessions, we can talk one-on-one and how to build your practice. But this is really meant to grow up here so you can serve your community better. So before I get started, as you know, I always have some type of things that we can talk about. However, I always like this as encouragement for open dialogue and opportunity for people to share opinions, ideas, thoughts, because we can always take it one way. I would prefer not to have that lecture type of event for these meetings, but more or less the opportunity to provide value for those who have questions on case design and those who have questions on, maybe you got stumped by a client who asked you a question and you just couldn't think of the answer. Stuff like that is very important. So if you guys have some of the stuff like that, feel free to either put it in the chat or if you want to just unmute yourself, you're more than welcome to. Right now, normally I would have three monitors, but because I'm in a hotel, I've got one. And so, if you want to put it in the chat, you can. I just have to see it. Or if you want to just unmute yourself or put your hand up, and then I can call on you to unmute yourself. Any way is fine. But again, this is your time to ask questions. There's no bad questions because I'm sure if you have the question, someone else has the question. Okay. So what I figured, I'll let you guys mill over some ideas. What I figured I would share with you though is something along the lines of annuities. Because we've talked about, living benefits, we talked about term insurance. Last week we talked about actually getting appointed. A lot of people didn't realize that when you're a business, your business has to be appointed as well as the individual. But what you'll find now is when you think about the idea of the typical person, um, I mean, I'll ask, show of hands or, you know, thumbs up. How many of you think about death and taxes? Not many. You know, now how about retirement, right? So when you think about it, what's the easier sell to get in front of someone? Is it talking about, death, talking about what happens if you don't make it home tonight, or what are your retirement objectives? So
Great.
go ahead, Prasanna.
No, it's much easier to talk about retirement,
Yep.
especially there where people.
Yeah. And I mean, if you want to layer in the conversation around retirement with ultimately a retirement plan, has that protection piece, because if you don't plan for that, the unexpected, you're not going to get to your desired goal. So the idea of insurance will pop up into the conversations, but all of us being human have that selfish intention of what's in it for me. I did a estate planning case recently, which unfortunately went a little sideways. Hopefully, the guy will change his mind, but guy's worth north of 100 million, and we did an estate case for 35 million in protection, and he says, "How can I benefit from this?" And I was like, "Yeah, enough to heat your great grandkids' pools, and you're concerned about this asset that's meant to protect your estate." So even people who are high net worth are always thinking about themselves or their family from the standpoint of how can they benefit from it. And so we just have to kind of understand that and get in the mindset of what people are really thinking when you're talking to them, because for the most part, retirement is the main thing that people think about. So what I'll do first is I'll give like a quick kind of like a whiteboard, if you will, on ideas on what to look for from an annuity standpoint, because you're going to have different types of setups for different types of people. Okay. There's no bad annuity per se, but what I would do is I would stay away from like the B-rated carriers, because you don't want to have that conversation later as to, oh, they had to sell to some other company because they became insolvent or something like that. So, what I'll do is show you my boys. That was not intentional. Here we go. So, what I would say is that there's really two sides of the coin with any annuity. There's really an accumulation annuity, and then there's an income annuity. So, off the top of your heads, does anyone have an idea? So let's go kind of across the board. What type of age range do you think you would see for the accumulation annuities? Anyone have a guess?
This is a young working age client.
So young working age, what type of age do you think that would be? Because I'm 43 and I think I'm young. Um, my my doctor and
um,
the scale don't think that, but
I I would say maybe you're the age, or I'm 44, so we're the same age. So maybe our age, up to almost retirement age, possibly. It would be
I,
nice.
yeah, yeah. So mid 40s, I saw Swapnil said 45. 25 to 60. Teresa, I think I'm kind of agreeing with you there from that standpoint. And I'll explain why. Or actually, Teresa, it's always nice to hear your sweet voice. Do you want to explain your thought process on why accumulation 25 to 60 would make sense? unless you're
Phil,
shy. There you
can you
are.
hear me?
I can now.
Okay, so I'm on two devices, so I'm trying to make this work.
Wow. I'm impressed.
Well, I'm just trying something out tonight.
Okay. So why would you say
Okay, so
25 to 60?
let me turn this. Okay, so what I'm kind of thinking is anybody that is working and earning the income, they should be planning to put money aside for their retirement.
Yep. Working and earning. I agree with that wholeheartedly. And there's different ways that you can save in these vehicles. Okay. So there are IRAs, right? There's Roth IRAs. There's just regular non-qualified. You can do SEPs for business owners. And you can even do, in certain parameters, 412(e)(3) plans, which we are definitely not covering tonight. Okay. So what I would say is when you're working and earning, you should have some form of retirement planning for your benefit. Now, here's the cool thing is, most statistics show you should be putting away at least 10% of your W-2 income to have a fighting chance at retirement. Not to have a good retirement, a fighting chance at retirement. Now, if you think about it, clients who make about 40, 50,000 a year, they have a higher percentage of retirement benefits than someone who makes six figures or more because certain things get eliminated when you have a higher income. So we talk about things like a Roth, stuff like that, where you lose out on an opportunity to save. However, most people don't realize that we have products that allow you to do IRAs and Roths with as little as $100 a month. Okay. So you're not going to get paid a lot as a producer, but it's the right thing to do for the client. I literally did a $250 a month Roth IRA contribution for one of my agents, and it took 20 minutes at most, and it got approved the next day. And then it got drafted. So they are easy to get through from a suitability standpoint. Like I said, you're not breaking the bank with that, but again, what I told people over the weekend and what you guys probably already know is when you sell more product to a consumer, the stickier the business. So if you sell three or more products to one consumer, 99% chance they won't leave you. So even if the IRA is small and you sold them a term policy as well, maybe a 529 alternative for the kiddos, you have created that bond with them that there's a value proposition there. And so what you'll find is that, these are great stories and great ways to make sure people are getting set for their retirement, but it's not going to give you guaranteed income. So this is really meant for accumulation, not for income. Okay. Usually the income products have higher par and higher cap rates versus their compadres on the income side. Reason being is they are aiming for a specific reason: grow cash, mitigate fees. And if anyone ever asks, you can show them annuities that have no fees. Okay. The accumulation annuities, if you don't pick the one that has a 1% fee or 1.75 fee to give you a higher participation or cap rate, there's no fees to annuities. So it's not like it was in yesteryear when everyone was picking on the insurance companies for having fees inside their annuity products. Now, on the flip side, let's talk about income for a second here. Any idea what type of age range you would think about for these type of clients?
So these are the older clients. They're at retirement age, or I guess, yeah, right at retirement
Yep. So, well, what one person's retirement is not another's, joking, of course, 50 plus, 50 to 60, good answers.
Yeah, 50 to 60.
Yep. So I would say you're probably in the realm of 50 to maybe even 75. Okay.
age.
And the reason being is there are some people who will go beyond the normal age of working years to get to their retirement. We're working on a case right now with someone who is 72, or excuse me, 73. They're turning 74 next month, and $1 million rollover from one annuity to another. Potentially, knock on wood, it's not over till it's over. But why do we look at this from this age, and why do we have a crossover? Because when we talk to our clients, we have to figure out what makes the most sense for them. Okay. Some people you'll talk to will want the accumulation annuities and take out non-guaranteed withdrawals because they want cash accumulation, they want growth, and they don't want to have any type of fees like a 1 to 1.2% inside of their policies. These income annuities typically have a fee because they're going to give you guaranteed income. And so the question comes to a client, are you looking more for accumulation in income or excuse me, accumulation in cash growth, or are you looking more for income? Now you're going to have those greedy people who say, I want it both. So, there's different ways to mitigate those conversations. But really, the idea here is guarantees. Okay. They want peace of mind, they want sense of security, and they want to understand that everything's going to be okay no matter what. Typically, like if you have $1 million, or let's just say 100K, okay, and you put it into this guaranteed income, so you'll withdraw every year, let's say 13K. I know that's high, but for example's sake, this will continue to draw down till it's at zero, but you're still going to get 13K for the rest of your life. Okay. Now, in the past, if you wanted to pull an income out, annuities would give you the option to annuitize, and that was it. Okay. They didn't have these income riders that would give you, the income and say someone dies and there's 50K left. Well, that 50K goes to the beneficiary. It's unused resources and that will go to the beneficiary. But back in the day, annuities would annuitize and there would be absolutely nothing given back to the wife or husband or kids because you're basically surrendering the policy to the insurance company for lifetime income. And what they would do is to kind of control that is they would give period certains. So you have like a 10-year period certain that if I died, halfway through like 5 years or 5 months after, they would still guarantee 10 years worth of premium or income out to my beneficiary. But the problem is once again, once you die, that if the period certain is up or you don't have a period certain, that asset goes to the insurance company. In this scenario with the income riders, you still have accessibility to pull more money out of them if you need to or want to. But really, the idea is to give you that freedom to still say it's your asset. And so that's what people like is they like to once again have their cake and eat it too. But really, again, the main focus for this is guaranteed income. Okay, so how
Is
do
there,
annuities have no charge? Client question, how do you make money? Is it only because of the time they have the money to work with? That's really it. Yeah. So Magna, if you gave a bank, $100,000, that $100,000 doesn't stay at the bank and just sit there. they're going to put that money to work. And so sometimes, like, that's what happened with the Great Depression is everyone wanted to pull their money out at the exact same time due to fear, and the banks didn't have it, and things got crazy. But, in essence, the money's not going to sit there. We're going to put it into safe conservative vehicles like 10-year treasuries, like government bonds, things that have a strong rating that you're not going to lose money on. And because there's a surrender schedule, it's predictability on hypothetically when they would get their monies back. So, much like we've talked about before in IULs and permanent insurance, the insurance company is losing money on it takes them probably about 10 years to recoup it. So much like that with the annuity space, the reason why there's surrender charges is if you're going to pull your money out early, you're going to feel the pain. So is the insurance company. So they want that mutual pain, so to speak, for pulling the money out early. Does that make sense?
Phil, can I have a quick question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so you mentioned about long ago, if someone did not cash out, the policy will be surrendered. I mean, if just insurance company takes away. That's why people go for period certain, right? So nowadays that's not the case, and a lot of rider options we got, and if something happens, family would still get it as a death benefit and stuff like that, right?
Yep.
So was there a kind of a reform that changed, or when was the year all these products that came to this kind of a new, the way of giving away the leftover money to the family? So I'm trying to understand. It's hard to find those old kind of annuities. Is there any companies still promoting those kind of policies? This information helps people. Hey, these are the companies, these are the kind of annuities. Still, it would happen that way. Better let's try to keep away from those.
Well, that's a great question. Much like any whole life policy has like options if you want to stop paying, they give you options. All of these have that same thing. So every annuity has the ability to annuitize the product, but most people would rather have that freedom to turn off income, turn it back on if they want to. So they're still all there. They're just not the options that people pick. Okay. Now, these income riders started, I want to say, right after the financial crisis, because I remember when I was working at MetLife, they were trying to promote cohesion between the life and annuity sales desks. So the income riders started probably in the early 2010s, maybe late 2000s, if you will, um, or at least when they started to become more prevalent than you know what they are now is the go-to for everybody. But it was probably around that time.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Yep. So yeah, I mean, really, it's kind of different strokes for different folks on what way that you want to go from this. But again, it always goes back to asking the right questions. Okay. If you ask the right questions, you get the right results. If you don't ask the questions, it leaves nebulous, it leaves confusion, and then all of a sudden it leads to a client not wanting to buy. Okay. So what I would say is that I'll show you some scenarios on different ways that you can run some of these annuities. And let's see, Roshni says, so what I understand is income rider provides the ability to withdraw more money and transfers to the beneficiary if the owner dies. Um, if there's money left over, so Roshni, if I had, you know, kind of going to this is so if I annuitized versus income rider, right? So let's say I have 100K. I'm pulling out 13K a year. No period certain, just a regular annuitized. So 13K, year two, 13K, year three, 13K, and then year four, I die. Okay. So my total return on this is 39,000 and I just lost per se roughly, $61,000, right? So it's a net loss of 61,000 because I annuitized the contract and I had an unexpected early mortality. Whereas over here, 100K, take out 13K. So now my asset has now dropped to, let's say, 100. So one would think it's 87, but you have a fee too. So let's just say it's like 79K. Then you pull out another 13K. Let's say it drops to 56K, whatever. I'm making this completely up. Okay, 13K. Then I die. This 56K goes to my bennies, whoever they may be. So instead of a net loss over here, I actually have the ability to transfer something back to my wife, my kids, if there's an earlier unexpected mortality. Now,
Also,
go ahead, Prasan.
just to make the point that if joint, you're a joint annuitant, the 13K will continue.
You are also correct with that, yes. And so on the both sides here, say it was a joint annuitant, then if you had one death, the 13K would continue until, say, the second death. So then if there's a net loss to what you had funded, then you'd be at a loss. Whereas this same thing here, say this was joint and car accident, whatever, and there's still 56K or there's cash value left, then the next generation would get that. You wouldn't lose it.
So basically, it's just the at least you will get.
I lost you, Magna. But basically, you will get cash value back on the income rider side. You could get cash if you did that 10-year period certain. So if I got 13K per year and died in this third year or fourth year, the 13K would still go based on the period certain.
So basically, you'll at least get your principal back, right? That's what you're saying?
Yep. Yeah. Well, Roshni, so in short, as long as there's money in the annuity, the beneficiary will get it. Yeah, if there's an unexpected death. Now, if for example's sake, this depletes, down to $0, I'm still getting 13K per year. But once I hit mortality, there's nothing that goes to the Benny because I've gone into house money. Okay. I've gone into the money from the insurance company versus just, the money I funded up front.
Okay, so as soon as the 100K is done, after that, rest of the money is the insurance money, and that's why the beneficiaries don't get. Oh, got it. Got
Yep.
it. Thank you.
Yep. No problem. Great question. And that's why I say like a lot of clarity around this because some clients will be like, well, I want a death benefit for my beneficiaries. Well, you're barking up the wrong tree because if you want a death benefit, there's a different story for that. We call it life insurance. Okay. Now, keep in mind here, this is all based off of retirement. Bad handwriting, I know, but don't let the, bad handwriting get in the way of the good story here. Okay. So this is all based on the fundamentals of retirement, income, or accumulation. Now, if you had someone, so again, kind of taking into this older echelon, so let's say you have someone from 60s to even, let's say, late 70s. So we'll just say 78. You could even say 80 if you wanted to. There's a strategy. Some people call it different. I grew up with AFL, annuity funded life. So if someone said to you, well, I have $100,000 and I want to leave it to my grandkids, well, I would say, Well, if I could show you a way where you will have no risk at all and you could give more to your grandkids, even specifying their names to really tug at the heartstrings, would you be interested? Of course, why not? So let's say, you have a husband and a wife, and they're in their 60s, okay? So that same 100K that we talked about before, down here, we're going to leverage, and let's say they're going to get 13,000 a year. They don't need the money. They want to leave that 100,000 for the kids. So the best way to leave money to the kids is tax-free death benefit. So we took this 13K, you minus out taxes, but let's just say 13K is net, and then you fund that into a life insurance policy, say like a second to die or SIUL, and then you have an annual premium of 13K, 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 no matter what, because it'll only stop after they die. And after they die, guess what? The life insurance pays out. But maybe this can give them 300,000 to 400,000 tax free that they can give to their beneficiaries. So you're using one asset to pay for the other one so they don't have to think about where's the money coming from to leave more to their grandkids. So that's what we call annuity funded life. Some people call it pension maximization, or not pension maximization, wealth transfer maximization, things like that. But the idea is that when you use this type of strategy, now you have clientele who maybe don't need retirement money, but they have this money sitting on the sidelines. Well, what you're going to do is you're going to take that 100K or whatever it is and make it active. So idle assets turn active as long as you give them a story. So if we go back to the retirement side, and just to kind of put a bow on this is what you call legacy. Okay. It's not meant for retirement. You're just using one asset to fund another one. Does this make sense? Anyone have any questions on these?
Uh, on either one, the legacy, the accumulation or the income, what what are the best amounts that the client should have to fund them initially? I guess that's
That's a
what I'm
great
trying to get
question. So like the accumulation side, like if we looked at, accumulation, what I would say is that anyone willing to invest, again, the minimums for a Roth or a IRA is 7,000, but you can target also old qualified plans like a 401k that they left from a prior job. I'll give you a good example. When I left AIG, the first thing I did was said, all right, what do I do with my 401k? Not a lot of people realize there's a ton of fees inside of 401ks. So if I wanted to reposition that asset into something that didn't have any fees, have it grow without me thinking about it and not lose any money without worrying about it, I reposition that into an accumulation focused uh, account. It would be an IRA because it would be a like for like, so 401k into an IRA, and the chassis is the IRA, but the product is an annuity.
at.
Okay. So what you look for is the bigger hits are going to be someone leaving a job. So if you wanted to advertise on social media, if you wanted to advertise in newsletters, if you have clients, something like job change, you know, don't leave your qualified money at your old job. Let me show you how you can maximize it and not lose any money in the future. Something like that. But what I would say is that would be a good sales idea to really get out there, whether you use social media, flyers in your local communities like flyer board, church, whatever, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But anything to kind of get in front of people in regards to the annuity concept. Same thing with the income side. You'll have some people who will be getting ready to retire, so they'll either have something like a pension, which not many people do now, 401k because separation from service, IRA, SEP, Roth, all of those would be more rollover conversions versus
Mhm.
like actually finding someone to immediately start doing that for income. If they have money, some people will, and they want to put 200,000, 100,000, into an income annuity, they can, but usually you get your bread and butter from rollovers, especially for the income side. So these ones, the 7K, like I said, you can do a monthly funding with someone. So if they want to do like $500 a month, 525, whatever, I think it's 583 to get you around the 7K or something like that. But that would be the objective for that. So it's just really, becoming a soundboard for opportunity, and that's where you'll find it.
Got it.
Great
Okay.
question, though. Great question. Um, any other questions?
Hey, Phil, this is Teresa. We have a manufacturing facility here locally that just announced last week that they are closing up shop after 50 something years. And I've done some check-in and so forth, and they had one of the best retirements 401k plans. What are some ideas that you have, and how would I go out there? I do not know this company. I've not dealt with them before. So what do I need to do to go over it and maybe help some of these employees with rollovers and such? I mean, I don't really know where to start, but I know they're going to need some help.
Yeah, I mean, what I would do is I would probably talk to or go into the office itself and see if you could speak with the HR representative, if possible, because when it boils down to it, they're probably going to know best to see if you can put on a seminar on how to protect your assets and against things like this, how to prepare, what to do with your retirement assets, and ultimately protect them against fees and things like that. But usually you'll have a gatekeeper. The gatekeeper is usually the HR representative that allows people to do seminars or stuff like that. But if you want to do the old shotgun blast approach and try and get as many as possible, that'd be the best way to do it, or leave flyers regarding, changes and how you can be a specialist, to help them, get through these tough times.
Now, what was that you was talking about the blast? I'm sorry, I didn't miss that.
Yeah, like see if you can talk to the HR rep and set up a meeting, a lunch and learn, or something like that, where it's kind of a shotgun blast. You're trying to get as many people in one spot as possible.
Okay,
So that's the idea behind that.
I got you. I got you. Okay, I'm going to be reaching out to them. I may be calling you
Yeah,
for some
please.
backup.
Yeah. The other thing too is I don't know if I'll find it successfully. I've tried before and it takes a few. But the other thing that we do, is again, we can do 401k plans, but I think it is in this tab. I gotta remember where I can sign in for our professionals. I think it's this one. So if you guys were on some of my webinars before, we can do 401k plans. And let's see if this is the right one.
So would we be able to roll over if they have it in a 401k plan, let's say with a company represented that represents that employer group? Can we move that 401k money into a group that we represent?
Well, no, because the 401k has to be a like for like. So it would be like if they were going to a new company. But the idea here is I'm trying to see if we can backdoor it so you can see who the representative for the 401k is. So, Teresa, I'm going to use you as a test monkey. So, do you know the zip code where that business is, Teresa?
Sorry, 72450.
All right. Oops. Do you know the name of the company?
Tenneco.
What is it?
Tenneco, Tenneco.
All right. Well, they're not in here, so they may or may not even have a 401k. But if you see with this, Allen Engineering Corporation and
Okay.
Paragold, um, they have a 45 plan score and they have 3.6 million in assets. And if I click on this, you should be able to find Mr. Alan Rogers is the plan contact. You have his number here. And if you want to do a 401k review, you can
Uh-huh.
do that.
Okay. So
So,
so you're able to get in there and see what companies in the zip codes that we market to have a 401k plan
yep,
already in place and who is managing that
yep.
so that
So
we can just, okay.
it's all public knowledge. So you can go in and see all the different, this
You
has got
can,
23 million in it.
yeah, exactly. Look on that list and see if Monroe is listed because that's another name for this company. I think it's part of it. Okay, so
Monroe?
that's, yeah, Monroe.
No,
It's not in there either. Okay. I
no.
had talked with a retired employee last week from them, and she was telling me that when she worked there, she said we had one of the best retirement plans in the area.
Yeah,
But but she's been gone for a while, so that too could have changed, especially since they are experiencing losses in the market.
could be a pension as opposed to a 401k. This is strictly 401ks.
Okay.
But if I were you, I'd try and see if I could talk to Arkansas Methodist Hospital, you know,
Okay.
Miss Stacy Williams here, phone number and everything. Um, a free review on your 401k plan, see if we can save them some money. And then what would happen is those total assets, if you rolled it over to a new 401k, well, guess what? You now get a rollover almost like an annuity, be like maybe 4% or something like that, for example's sake. And then you get trails on the asset. So, um, wouldn't be a bad thing to have that type of conversation.
No, I would take it. Now, Phil, with something like that, where do we take the conversation, with doing a 401k review? Is that something you've done a training on doing a 401k review?
Not a 401k review per se, but on my YouTube channel. So if you go through the ones regarding retirement planning,
Uh-huh.
so you'll see this guy, Matt Ruttenberg, um, right there. He
Okay.
is the one who he would help us with stuff like this. So really getting the intro with him in would be, hey, we do a free, 401k review. Would love to set you up with our third party administrator who can do that. And then, get him on the horn with them. And then we go from there.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
it's just a great way to kind of take advantage of that.
Okay.
But great question. I know that was kind of off the topic of the annuities, but kind of the segue here that I did want to share is on the 3Mark portal. So when you log in and you you're finally logged in under products and solutions. If you click on annuities, it'll bring you here. So, is anyone familiar with what a MIGA is?
I knew and then I forgot.
It's okay. I'm kind of cheating because it actually shows you here multi-year guaranteed annuity. Okay. So if someone is looking for a CD, right, this would be your CD alternative. It would be a MIGA. Okay. Multi-year guaranteed annuity is basically what you have at a bank, just at an insurance company instead. So people would match the rates, see if it makes sense, and go from there. Now, if you are going to sell annuities, you do have to go on this resources and quotes, and you have to finish the training before you're allowed to submit the business. So if I click on the training guide, they already have multiple stops or spots to help you get that all done. So Allianz, American Equity, even if you're not an active agent yet, you click there. Marico, Athene, they do it through a Reg Ed site, and these are the course names. Corbridge, all of them have product training that you have to do in advance. National Life Group is kind of a joke,
Yeah, I
if you
just
ask
did
me.
that one.
Yeah, it's the easiest one you'll ever finish. You ready? You guys, watch this. So you go to National Life Group, wrong one. You go to National Life Group, log in, and of course, they're going to ask me for a 2-point authentication, like they always do. Lord help them if they could only do one. I get it. It's for my safety and protection, but whatever. Give me one sec here as I wait for this. All right. 979-072. That's not my actual passcode. It's just to get in this one time in case someone's trying to steal my identity. So if we go into training, I believe it is product training right here. Then you go to annuities and you check this box and hit submit,
Nope.
and you're done. I'm now blessed to sell National Life Group's annuities. Uh,
Wow.
it's that easy. So, so from that standpoint, though, I'll share with you first NLG for the lower face amount or lower annuities, if you will. So if we go to illustrations, you have to do it on their site for these. You just go to new illustration, and we're gonna go to fixed premium deferred annuities. Okay. So what this does is it drops you down to two. There's the secure growth and the select income. For this, we want to look for the secure growth. And let's just say I wanted to, here's the drop down. They can do 403Bs, 457. Those are government plans. These are teacher plans, but they're all like 401ks. So let's just say I want to do a Roth IRA, and we'll just say good old Phil Resch, 12/22, 1981. So old, so old. All right. And then I got the client information, funding and withdrawals. So here, I'm not going to do a single premium. Let's say I want to do $500 a month, premium mode monthly. And I want to do this from year one to age 65. Okay. So when you want age, you put A. And I just want to do the S&P. So as you can see here, they have an S&P cap of 9.5%. I can do the rate boosters and all that crap for a 1% charge. I am not a fan of the charges because it's against the cash value, not against the accumulated value. So it means you're you know basically sacrificing for 3 extra points. Some people like monthly, some people like all these other options. I'm just a fan of keeping it simple. So next thing you know, I can hit quick view, and quick view will give me everything I need, showing $6,000 a year or 500 a month. Effective growth rate, they're doing a look back, so they're going to show different rates and numbers, but by 65, my total amount, I'll have about almost $300,000 in accumulated income in a Roth IRA. So I can go lower than this. Like some will say you can do 5,000 is the minimum with American Equity. So just for grin's sake, just showing $100 a month, I can do that too. And as you can see here, 1,200, the story is still the same. All right, see you, Prasanna. So from that standpoint, Roths, IRAs, non-qualified, if you have a SEP plan, so they can do SEP plans through National Life Group. If the client doesn't have like a CPA or someone to give you like the amount, then we have a qualified plans file or form that the client can use to give you. And National Life Group, CM Magna, National Life Group can figure it out for you. So different ways from there. Now on the income side, so we looked at the training guide. If we want to go to what's called Luma, Luma would be where you can run your quotes. Say you're looking for an income product. We can do an income comparison through Luma. So if I go to Marketplace, view products. So let's pick a state, Arizona. Okay. It's going to retrieve products. This is just a general marketplace. Okay. Now, if I wanted to, for example's sake, do an income comparison, I would go in here and let's pick fixed index annuities. Let's just say 200,000, age 60. Best training site for general information for newbies. You mean for annuities, Teresa?
Yes.
Uh, that's a good question. I'll show you something in a second. But this part I'll show you the basics, and then let's call this like the Honda Civic. Then I'll show you the Cadillac in a second, okay?
Okay, thanks.
Yep. So if you want income comparison here, fixed index annuity, 200,000. And let's say I want to start income at 65 and I hit male, female, joint, yes or no. Then I hit submit and voila, it'll give me all the products here in just a second, unless I mess something up. Start age.
Phil, is this Luma that you're on right now, is that a new location for us to go to get these quotes from different carriers or?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
so it's new on the 3 mark.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I was thinking it was something different that I had been to before.
No, it is new. I don't understand why it is not working though. That's the first for me. Um, 0 products. That's weird. Maybe there's a glitch in the system right now. I'll have to report it. But what would happen is that if you wanted to say buy the annuity product, let's say I go to view products, and let's just say I go to marketplace. I wanted to get this American Equity Asset Shield 7. If I click buy, what will happen is it'll pull up like it's Firelight. Firelight being the way that most BGAs will set up to submit business, because you can submit all your business in one spot and it'll go through all the pages here. So, one through whatever, and they'll fill it out like you normally would, and then you would submit it to the carrier. So you can submit it on here. You can technically submit it on the carrier sites as well, but this kind of puts it in one clean and concise place for you for multiple carriers. Now, this is the free version. What I have done is I've also purchased a version, a different software, if you will, called Annuity Genius. And this one, I gave to the Rise partners. So, Teresa, Laverne, for you guys, Danny has this. So everyone else, it's about $150 a month. But let's say, for example's sake, um, I'll take a client, say good old Phil Resch. See, how old am I in this one? I'm 43 years old. Okay. So I guess I live in Delaware here, 175,000 to invest, and I do this annuity navigator. Whoops. Restart. Gives choices. Do I want lifetime income? Well, I'm 43, and based on what we said before, I want accumulation. Okay. So do I want protected market exposure or guaranteed rates? You'll see down below, you have fixed growth, S&P, protected market exposure. I want to go that route, and that would eliminate things like a MIGA. Next step, that's how much I want to invest. Next step, do I want something that can contribute more over time, or do I want something that I want to throw in just one time? I'll just say one time. And do I want fees or no fees? So this is again the conversation around adding fees to give you higher potential returns, but it goes against your cash value. As you can see, it's recommended to not have fees. Do I want access to the funds? No, I don't plan on touching the funds. And I want to have 100% access after 10 years. Next step. I like traditional ones like S&P, NASDAQ, Russell versus the funky new ones like the BNP Paribas or, stuff that's made up for, proprietary purposes. Keep it A rating or higher. Next step, it'll analyze all the different annuities across the industry and it'll spit out the top three that they think are recommended for me. So, boom. This is everybody in the industry. What I've also done is I've reduced it to, for example's sake, the ones that we can sell. So you'll see Lincoln OptiBlend 10, average rate of return is almost 8.8%. And if I look at these options, so for example's sake, I explore all the options, it will start spitting them out here. It's giving me the 1-year S&P 500, and it has a participation rate right now of 60%. That's not bad. If you think about the S&P with a par rate and no cap, they show you 10 years, 15 and 20-year returns. Statistically speaking, I can even do live only, which means it's been in existence for longer than 10 years. So there's ways where you can mitigate against, those indexes that have only been around for a short period of time and shows you the true returns. So if I wanted a Lincoln quote, or if I wanted to get the info on it, I could pull up the info here. If I wanted to see the brochure, I could pull up the brochure and look at all the information there. And if I wanted to run an actual illustration, I can illustrate the quote. And from here, if I wanted to, for example, say change the allocations, I can do so. And they give me some of the, return and expectations. So if I want the cap, average is 9.5 cap, gives me about 6.56. So as you can see, they're giving you some of the average returns. If you want to change it, you can. So let's say top three, and I do that. So now I'm diversified. It gives a potential decent rate of return, just not as high as this by itself, but maybe I like diversification. So then I hit next, no withdrawals, no contributions, final step. And here's my quote. So it'll show all the information. This is the guaranteed column first. You'll see after 10 years, I have ending contract value the same, so I didn't lose anything. I actually get that 205 because of market value adjustments. But then if we go down here, you'll see varying rates depending on, a look back schedule. But 10 years out, my 175 is now 357, so it pretty much doubled. So this type of software is available, but it costs about 150 bucks a month. So just giving you a heads up on that, if you are really serious about annuity production, and what I would say is this software will probably easily double the amount of annuities you do. You can look at MIGAs, SPIA calendars, all this stuff on here. You can even advertise it on your website. So I could pull up on my website my own generator. And then on the back end, I have a CRM that shows like this one. I did this for myself, just for grins. And someone can text me, and then I can actually, if I'm at my computer, I can say hi and text back, or it'll go to my phone and I can text from my phone to that person to set up an appointment. So this is the Cadillac version of Annuity Genius. They have a Pinto version for 100 bucks a month, but this version is about 250, but I can get $100 off if you want it. See you, Shweta.
So since Oliver Group has got it, does that mean that spreads out, or is that just for us to call him and say, "Hey, we need some rates"?
Yeah, it's one seat is
Okay,
is that rate. So because Danny is one of my Rise partners, he is blessed with this.
right.
But if anyone wants it themselves, it's about 150 a month.
Okay, okay.
So if you think about it, one annuity can easily make that worth it. So just a thought, anyone more than willing to go either way, but annuities are a pretty big thing. When you think about the gray wave, the assets being transferred to the next generation, now's the time to have these type of conversations involving retirement. So any questions? Anyone want to see something else? Case designs? Anything helpful? Good
Hi,
stuff?
so I have one question or kind of a case session.
Yeah.
So not related to annuity. So I'm at a family where they have a child, one and only son, who is around 4 or 5 today. Technically, they want to plan go back to India maybe in next 5 years permanently.
Uh-huh.
And 15, 20 years down the line, maybe when the child is ready to go to college, child is going to come back. He's a US citizen.
Mhm.
So now they have a question. Hey, if I put 100,000 aside with an intention of let it grow for my child, he may use it if he comes back for college. If you don't use it for any reason, we want to take that money back to India. What's the best solution for them?
They're the owner of the policy, so they can take that money and surrender it at any point in time.
So single funded IUL or
So I would use Columbus. They have a PDA on their account. So 100,000, you throw it in, and then over the next 10 years, it'll put in 10,000 per year for them. Or over the next 5 years, put 20,000 in for them. And then
right.
if they want to use that for college, great. If they want to surrender it and take it back, they can do that too. It's their money. Now, Columbus has a unique feature. You know this, but I'm saying this for everybody else as well. If you want to do an early cash value rider on their policies, you can do that. It'll give you access to 80 to 90% of the cash value. The only thing is that if the client surrenders it within 5 years, you have a charge back. So use it sparingly, but it's a great conversation piece if people want access to their money. So yeah, so Jay, from your end, I would use their PDA from that standpoint.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, no problem. Great question. Any other questions? Time flies
Feeling
when
pretty
you're having
good.
fun. What's up?
I'm feeling pretty good today.
Awesome. Well, I will call it a wrap then because I have an early morning flight. But I want to say I appreciate you guys for jumping on. Any questions at all, give me a holler. And thank you guys for everything that you do. And looking forward to seeing you, tomorrow if you can make it, 4 o'clock Central. We're going to do Universal Life and IULs, understanding them and differences and stuff. And then we'll just keep rocking and rolling. So thanks again. Have a great day, great night, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, Phil.
See you
Thanks,
guys.
everyone.
Thanks.
Night.
Bye, everyone.